Good evening, all of you. After gap of one day, we are meeting again. Day before yesterday, we started pointers in C. Rather, it was I told you at the beginning of that session that it was just a, it was just an introduction to pointers in C because pointers are a part of functions. Pointers are going to be part of arrays, then strings, then structures, then file handling, then during dynamic memory allocation, uh, we need pointers. So we cannot no put it inside one chapter. So this session and today's session as well as day before first session will be focused on basics of pointer. Okay? Uh, we may not be able to write applications as such because applications will be in subsequent chapters. But here we are going to see what is that basically pointer, what is referencing, what is dereferencing, or indirection operator, uh, how uh, how an address of one variable can be stored in a pointer variable. What is that basically terminology? When to attach the star operator? So all these concepts were discussed in the first session. Now many students ask me through mail that uh, little bit of confusion is there, and that is, my friend, that is obvious. It is not the concept to be master within a couple of days or couple of sessions. No, it is not possible. It takes time. So give yourself also some time to no. I'm not using that master the pointers, but at least I will say give yourself some time to understand that. Right? Use of that, mastering that, it takes a lot of time, maybe a lot of years as well. So I mean, don't take it literally, but I'm just giving you a warning, you can say. So don't get bogged down. Don't get frustrated that, oh, sir taught me that this pointer and I couldn't understand. I got confused. So that is the obvious thing. That is the first step towards learning pointer. So we won't go for any what you can say revision or kind of that. Okay? But I believe we will write couple of programs today using pointer and through programming, through live coding, uh, we will try to strengthen our concepts about pointers, right? And then we will start writing program. Again, today I will take a simple program. Earlier one program I will repeat, and those concepts, some of the concepts where their students are, they wrote in the chat window that they are confused. So I will come to that. Don't worry. I hope ID is visible to you. Okay. I will comment the same. I will include the file. So I told you that if there is one variable which we call as the integer variable. Integer variable is capable of storing integer constant. If I want to store an address of this variable, then I'm repeating important parts of last session. So if I want to store an address of now for a moment, just remove why to do this, all these things. Why is to store address of one variable into another? This is not the right time to think about, my friends. This is not the right time. At particular time you will no you will recall why sir was telling or why sir was praising this sentence. Okay, so for time being, just narrow down your thinking. There is a one integer variable, we want to store an address of that integer variable in some variable. Now next point, pointer is a derived data type. And when we say pointer is a derived data type, it means there is not a keyword like pointer. So I cannot like pointer India. I cannot write like this. Why? Because it is not a built-in data type. So I will have to declare a variable which is a pointer variable. So I will declare a variable in star, suppose ptr, right? Now this is an integer pointer. Why it is an integer pointer? Because it has been declared in this way. It is a star. Now star can be attached to that int keyword or attached to that ptr name, variable name. Okay. So it can be like this, or like this. Right? Choice is yours. Now, so what is the meaning of this? PTR is going to be a integer pointer. It means PTR can accommodate an address of an integer variable. So I can write PTR is equal to ampersand now, right? Now note that whenever you say that PTR is a pointer variable which contains an address of another variable, don't forget that PTR is going to again take space in the memory. Right? Somebody asked me yesterday by mail. I'm going to answer all these questions. So, first of all, if I try to print something, it will print garbage because num will contain garbage. I will initialize num to 5. If I write um, num is equal to percent d, right? Now, if I write num is equal to percent d, I told you that PTR contains address of num. So using PTR, using pointers, you can access that. When I mean by access, it means everything. You can access it, you can modify it, you can replace it, you can do anything, right? So this is, you can write star PTR. Then what is the meaning of this? What is the star PTR? Let's write first printf. I write percent u. Don't get confused where I use percent u and where I use percent. Okay, that I will come to that. I write PTR. Let's try to understand in simple terms, right? What is num? Contents of num, right? What is PTR? Contents of PTR. What will be contents of PTR? That is an address of num, right? What is the star? What is the then star PTR? Value at the address contained in PTR. What is that value? That is 5, right? So if I am again explain you sheer basics. Sheer basics. I hope the ID is visible, code is visible, characters of that statement is visible. Right? I'll compile this, and what I want to tell you, students are beginner. Basically, beginner students are very excited. So as soon as their program doesn't give any compiled error, they are completely relieved, right? You can say cloud nine. No, please no. Okay, you are a beginner, so until your program is executed for various inputs successfully, then only you can say that okay, program is working fine. So here is the this thing. Num is 5, right? Printf address of num. So this is a address of num, right? And again, using that pointer, you can access that num. What I mean by this is that if I call the function change, suppose, right? Let's say num, right? Right? Void change index, right? Which is equal to 10. And I will write this statement here because I am going to call a function change. Okay, and I want to change this, right? So if I compile this program, build this, what is that? Conflicting type for change. Why this is a warning? Only because we have not written that. I told you default return type of any function is integer. Since we are writing void as a return type, compiler is suggesting us to write the prototype. Right? Void change int. You know, some people around you in your life always complain. Compiler is like that sometimes. So he'll always complains, right? Always. Its job is to complain, but it complains. That's why we can develop ourselves as a programmer. Oh my God! So what happens, my friends? What happens? We are changing. We are trying to change contents of num, right? Here in this function, right? Now, why this happens? This happens because we are sending num, okay, collecting in a x variable x. X is a local to function change, so x will be assigned 10. That is true. But as soon as the control goes outside this function, x will be destroyed. There is no. traces of any 10 being stored in X, and it will print as it is. But what I told you, because many students ask me that swapping of interchanging contents of two variables, no, uh, using pointers through function, how does it happen? Okay, that is the first question. Second question, why values were not written? And third question was, in the call by value function, why contents were not changed? So I actually explained same thing here. Okay, this is a call by value. Now you will argue along with me that we are not returning any variable, right? But see, there is a limitation. Okay, somebody will say that I will call the function as this. Num is equal to change num, right? And right here return x, right? I will change everything here. But see, it has got limitations. What limitation it has got? Limitation is that function cannot return more than one value. Function can. There is another uh, disadvantage to this system. But okay, at this juncture, you may not be able to understand that. But there is a overhead. A lot of overhead is there. Right? So this way, contents of num will be 10. Right? But this approach won't help you always. Right? So I told you what is the remedy. Remedy is that remedy is that if I write here star ptr is equal to 10, right? What will be the contents of some kind of flag must be there, right? Otherwise, we will write the code and we won't understand what is going on. So, these kind of flags sometimes during development are important for our own understanding. Now you will say that why we are writing these meaningless programs. Meaningless programs are important for understanding meaning. So if I run this code, it is good that when I compile, it saves as well. That is the use of IDE. Right? So num is 5 here. Address of num is 6487572. Here num is 5. Before calling function. So okay, some mistake I have made. Sorry for that. Typo mistake. Before calling change function, num is 10. And after calling change function, num is 10. Okay? So what is the problem? Problem is that sorry, I don't like typos. I got irritated. Okay, so this looks nice now. So what is this? Num is 5. This we are printing or rather accessing using value name of the variable, right? This is address of num. This we are accessing using a pointer variable. Okay, and this through pointer we are changing contents of num. Okay, we are calling here function. After that, the value of contents of num are 10, right? Because this is a function called by what we call value, right? Now we will do what? We will send the address, right? Since address is sent here, you're storing an address of num in ptr, right? So here again we are storing an address of num in another pointer. So x is going to be a pointer, right? So x is now is an integer pointer pointing to num. So you can write here. The students are confused when to write x and when to write not x, star x, right? If you are storing an address, then x is just a pointer variable. And if you want to access that, so star x is equal to 20. Probably students, beginners, beginners are having confusion over this, if I'm not wrong. Because I can judge what is going on in your mind, right? Beginners. Storing it at the address contained in X. Okay. When this function is called, an address of num is stored in X. Here, X is a pointer to num. Now, where is that num? Num in the main function. Right? That is the reason what is happened here. Yes. Complaint, no? If you are sending an address, there has to be a change in prototype, right? See, here onwards, each program will revise all concepts you learned in the past, right? The function prototype was, I spent a lot of time on function prototype or function declaration. So it has to be there, right? Okay. So here is the code, right? You can see contents of num have been changed, right? Using pointer. So if you send five variables, address of five variables, okay, you can access those variables directly using pointer. You can modify them. You can access them. There is no problem, right? Because you cannot return more than one value. That is not only use of pointer. Pointer has got numerous this thing. As far as pointers and functions are concerned, we say that. But and you will say that you may feel that is this the only no limitation, and we use the pointer. No, pointers had a lot of. I mean, array cannot be accessed without pointer. String cannot be accessed without pointer. So that everything and no that Python is that everywhere. When we say object-oriented technology, pointers are there only in hidden format from you, right? So let me somebody I gave some commitment to students that I would show you the debugger here. Okay, if I remember, yes, I committed. But let's see. Use this debugger for so many times. I'm extremely new to this IDE, but let's see if I can. No problem. Otherwise, let's see how I can. Mm, yeah, there is somewhere. Yeah, debugger is there, right? Yeah, right. I hope everything is. Uh, shall I start from beginning? Not necessary. I will explain you. Okay. For uh, for a debugger to activate using mouse, you need to click here somewhere. Okay, left click on this number. No numbers are there. One, two line numbers are there. So once you click that, okay, go to that execute, and there is a debug menu. Rather, or function F5 is the shortcut key, right? So once you saw that debugger is activated, now there is a difference between debugger of. There are multiple reasons I am showing this debugger. First of all, uh, this thing what how debugger works. Second is how pointers help you to change the contents of other variable, right? So multiple objectives to take this today. Now, so I'll have to see how to. Is there anything something like add? Yes, add watch is there. Now difference is between that debugger of the code block and this is that in case of the block debugger, that debugger knows that programmer wants to um, have a walkthrough of that code he has written, he or she has written. So by default, it puts everything, all variables in that watch window. Here you have to add that manually, right? That is the only difference. So those variables you want to see the contents, okay? Because you're pipping inside the machine, right? Through debugger. I will add those variables. So it goes here. You can see here the control is by shown by the blue line, right? And this red is a kind of a breakpoint, you say. Okay, in the code block, I said run to cursor command. Here is a kind of a breakpoint. So it will be, program will start executing at the main and it will stop here and then it goes ahead. So kind of that. So now here num because this statement is executed, right? So since this statement is executed, num contains 5, right? If I want to see uh, what is PTR, right? So it says PTR is a pointer variable. Okay, 0x1 is its own way of saying that, right? Now, if I okay, uh, I will add. I'm using this first time. So let's see. Let's star PTR as well. It is good idea, no? Cannot access. Okay, so this doesn't allow. Okay, no problem. Okay, there are some IDs which shows you that star PTR, but let's see. Let's see. We haven't uh, uh, gone ahead that because control is at L1, so perhaps it is not allowing you. Once I think if you so there is a next line is there, right? Continue is there, next instruction is there. Okay. I will press next line. Yeah, it goes to next line. Yes, you can see here. Yes, that is good. So star PTR is 5, right? Because PTR, this seems to be an address, right? This seems to be an address. in hex format, but this is an address, okay, of num. So 0x62fe14 is hex address, and star BTR is 5, right? So I will press next line. I think you can do this very easy debugger. And if I press next line, okay, you can see here printout might be there. Num is 5, right? Because this output will go on printing on the basis of where the control is. Since control is on the line number 14, this statement is not yet executed. So address of num. So I will go to the next line. Now, what is that address? 6487572. This is same as that PTR, right? This is only in hex. That's it. Then when I write next line, what is that? So I will put here wherever I want to start. Suppose I put here, right? Here this is a toggle, right? There is a toggle. So if I write here debug, so it will start, right? And then you can go on next line, continue next instruction, right? So let's see next line. So there is some menu is different than code block, right? Little bit of you have to play along with that because here there is a into function. So if function is getting called, probably I have to press this into function. So see, methodology is same everywhere. Interface is different, right? So I'll go next line, next line, next line, next line, next line. Here I think I have to go to the let me into function. Yes. Okay. Since function call is here now, I pressed into functions. So now control is passed to into function, right? I will add here one more batch x, right? And I will also add star x. So you can see here star x is 10. Why? Because num contains 10. What is the what are the contents of x? 0x62 fe14, right? Which is the address of num. So when this statement is executed, right, star x will be 20, right? And num should be also 20. Yes, as soon as the no control returns, you can see here. Sorry, excuse me. So as soon as control returns, the num has changed, right? So I think this is a good debugger. I think all of you have got this, and you should use this, right? And until unless you play along with that, you won't understand. Because today, perhaps second time, last time also I did not use it to the fullest extent. So this is a good idea uh, to understand the program, right? Now I will. And once you finish, stop that debugger, right? Because debugger is a very separate utility. It is a separate software. Um, you need to close that properly, right? Uh, we will write another program, a simple program again, right? Suppose we'll write area and perimeter of rectangle, area a circle. We're going to find this. I'm taking intentionally simple programs, right? Difficult programs would be there in arrays and strings, string manipulation everywhere. So to find, right? So you can comment this code, code or source code you can write. Get the habit of this, no? At least you should know this. Source code has been uh, written on 30th August by. I hope I write manually. You write your, otherwise you will copy paste this. Mhm. So I'll write here include file, and what is the objective? We are going to write uh, functions to find area of a rectangle, perimeter of rectangle, area of circle, and circumference of a circle. So in all, you need how many functions? Four functions. You need four functions, right? So uh, we will do first write prototype. So let's assume that int rec rec area, right? You see, need to send two arguments. Many beginners always face writing function prototypes, function declaration. First of all, whether to write void or not, how many arguments are to be sent, what should be data type. So beginners face these issues, and I am aware about that. Okay, so fight along with those hurdles, friction. You need to, you have to. So there will be rec uh, area and perimeters. Perimeter. I need to send. I want to find this. I have to send length and breadth, right? Then, as far as circle is concerned, there are chances that it will be floating point. So circle area. But this is the comment I wrote. Okay, these are the function declarations, right? And function definitions are there. A sincere apology, friends, for inconvenience because of some technical issue. I don't know. But good part is that I haven't explained full program, and I came to know. Right. So midway, we are yet at the beginning. So these are a few variables. I'll write input. Okay, I'll take the input for all this thing. Enter length of a rectangle. I'll have to make this float, right? This is integer, quite okay. So I'll call the functions, right? I'll call AR is equal to rec area, and I'll say length and I'll call functions uh, PR is equal to take and send 4 points. Call function AC is equal to, okay, I need to send just, I'm writing here. And CC is equal to circle. Lot of variables are there, so there might be some typo mistakes which we will come to know at the end. Right now, printf is percent %d, right? Right? ER. Okay, uh, what is that variable? PR. Right? We will come to why in the first chapter when I talked on variable naming conventions. Okay, when you write now, today onwards, when you are going to write programs using functions and pointers and arrays, strings, structures, now you will come to know that what is the importance of, you know, variable naming convention, meaning for variables, this, that, everything I told, talked a lot on that. At that time, perhaps you might have felt that this is a very, um, basic discussion and why actually I'm spending time on that. Intention was that um, variable naming is everywhere it is important. You take any programming language. You take Java, you take Python, you take C++. Around 4 function definitions would be there. Right? I will copy this so that typos are not there. Right? Take area, there will be length L and B, right? And say return L into, right? I can declare same variables here because these two are different functions. So, so those will be local variables, right? And no problem. simple formula 3.40 into R, right? 2 into 3.40 into R, right? So everything said and done. Let's ships. So no errors, no warnings are there, right? So I can execute this. So let's see 5 and length, breadth, and radius. Suppose 4. Right? So execute area of circle. What is that? Oh my god! Forgot to write the format specifier. But that is good. You will come to know importance of writing code. Even though always you feel that you are right and you can write the code. Just feeling of confidence that you can write the code doesn't mean that your code is going to be correct. Right? So this is about this thing. Various details of variant. Now, how we can get it done? So this is not. This cannot be done in single function, right? Suppose I want to write this in single function. I will save this file. That you come to know. I want to get it done through single function, right? So how you can get it do through single function? Uh, there would be a single function, right? Uh, this is going to be there. This is not going to be there, right? Uh, yeah, everything is there. I will call some single function. Okay. What I can say? Um, shape shape statistics, right? You can give any name what you want, right? Shape statistics, right? Is that correct then? Statistics. Okay. Now we need to send. So I need to send length, right? Breadth. And need to send radius. I need to send what I need to send area of rectangle, perimeter of rectangle, area of circle, and circumference of circle. I need to send all things, everything. right? And uh, there only this fetch function, right? There will be int, int, going to be also int. Okay. Then this is going to be int, int, float, float. You will feel that why this is, you know, how you will write this. What you are going to send, on that basis we have written that, right? So there will be, how many arguments are there? 3 and 4. So are these 3 and 4? Yes. First 3 are inputs. This is what want you want to calculate, what you want to calculate about the circle, right? Now I will copy paste this so that no mistakes is there during the typo, right? Now just see here that we want output as these four values, right? We want area of rectangle, perimeter of rectangle, area of circle, and circumference of a circle. And we want that to be calculated inside separate function, which is exclusively written for this thing. So I can actually, you should divide it into two functions, one for circle and another for rectangle. But I am intentionally, I am also making it complex so that you understand, right? Now, so we will say address of this, because we want to store in these four variables whatever we are going to do inside function, that will be, and there will be formal arguments. So int a will be there, right? Int b will be there, int r will be there, and here you are sending an address. So int star, suppose what that I can give, you are sending ar, right? So like suppose I give p1 p2, right? P2, p3, right? And we will write p2 equal to not p2 but star p2, right? No, star p1. Then this will be L into b star p2 equal to, I am writing like this. I will explain it. Huh? If I know questions are going to be, sir, how did you write this? I know what is going on. So it will be, copy paste this. Right. Star p3 equal star 4. And it didn't return over there. Okay. Their program. I don't remember. Okay. So here the some typo might be there. Float star 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 R B L, no semicolon here, all equations. I'll come to that. Now we'll explain, right? So these are the input, everything is same. These are the variables declared for output, right? Now these are input and output statements, right? Input and messages. There is single function, right? And through single function, we want to, since we know that we want to use the pointer, use of pointer, and the limitation of function, right? So I am sending length, breadth, and radius of a circle, and of all these four variables, we are sending address because we want to calculate that. We don't want to calculate length and breadth and radius. These are input values. But what we want to calculate? Area of rectangle, perimeter of rectangle, area of circle, circumference of a circle. We want to calculate that. That is the reason we are sending an addresses. So since we are sending address, we are collecting in a corresponding pointer variable. So it is an address of integer variable. It is there is an integer pointer. Address of integer variable, there is an integer pointer. Address of a float variable, float pointer, float variable, float pointer. And according to this, prototype is there. So int. This is the int star. I have to make here changes. Int star, float star, and float star. Right? So if I save this program, I have saved this program. If I build this program, so far there are no errors. Let's see what happens at the time of execution. So enter length of rectangle, right? So if I enter length, it should be more 7, 4, and radius as a 5. So it seems to be correct, right? So what is this? Same story again. Okay, we are here calculating L into B, but where you are storing this? Where you are storing this? At the address contained in pointer P1. So what does the P1 contains? An address of AR. So at that point, and in that variable, that area of rectangle will be stored. That L into B. Same 2 into L plus B. Where it will be stored? Not in P2. In P2, you cannot store integer, right? Star of that you can store integer because star of P2 is actually uh, the location whose address is stored in P2, right? So same for subsequent statements P3 and P4. So there are four pointers pointing to four locations, and you can store that everything. So see, actually, it is good that initial program was around 60 lines. I think so. No, this program is 37 lines. Not just length of a program. Okay, pointers are confusing. Okay, that I agree. But these are powerful tool, and these are mandatory tools. Many a times while writing C program, these are without pointer you cannot go ahead. Right? Okay. This is a quality question, but casting I will come to that at appropriate time. Right? Casting along with pointer is not only possible, but it is mandatory. Right? Sometimes it is mandatory. You need to cast pointer from one to another. Right? So I will come to that. But thanks for wonderful question.